Hello, everyone, and welcome to EFAP
Hi.
Superchat Catchup episode 291, where we talked about whether the Acolyte was actually good, because some people
Oh
felt
my
that way,
god.
among other
Did they though?
discussion.
Did they really?
Dude, there are so many fans that are still clamoring for that season 2, and hopefully they get it. Hopefully they get it.
Hopefully they do. I would love to see
Wonderful.
a second season of Acolyte.
There's
So
no,
many untold stories.
There's no
So
hope.
many things to
Abandon hope,
resolve.
all ye who enter. There is none.
Anyway, we're here to read and answer any and all messages sent during that episode. So we'll
Hooray.
just get on with it immediately.
Yes, get on with it.
Absolutely check out the horrifying 1993 film Fire in the Sky. It's gripping from beginning to end and scary as fuck.
I've heard things about this movie. I think it's like an alien abduction kind of movie.
Alright, it could be popped on the old list. What's the cast looking
Yeah.
like? Robert Patrick.
I don't know.
I always like him. And Henry Thomas. Perhaps we'll see about that someday. Put it on the hello there list. See here. Farewell and adieu to you, fair Flemish massives. Farewell and adieu, massives.
Oh,
Reliable
goodbye.
and friendly message. Your Flemish hands, Mr. Massive. You've been counting grumbos all your life. Another one that. Beautiful quotes, references. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Molly, I watched Scary Movie 3. I only laughed at the line, "Hey, Tom, could I get a ride home?" Other than that, it fell flat for me.
Oh, man. That's a
Fascinating.
shame. That's because I thought that movie was hilarious, and I love it.
I adore Scary Movie 3. I just do. It's a beautiful film. You didn't laugh at the sheriff's hat getting bigger and bigger during the scene? Really?
Or any of the Leslie Nelson stuff or Nielsen stuff? That's That's legitimately interesting. I guess I mean it's subjective. It's comedy. Not
Comedy
everyone
is
laughs at the same
complicated.
stuff. You're just
When he-
wrong.
When he thinks the aliens have taken over already and infiltrated the dude with like the throat thing where he's like, "Hello, Mr. President," and he goes, "Ah, you'll never take me alive," and punches him. Well, you know, fair enough.
Yeah,
How
I
it
guess.
goes. My favorite Dragon Force track will always be "Cry for Eternity." What's yours, Mauler? What is it? Oh, it might be Cry for Eternity, funnily enough. What's the one that was in... Oh, Power of the Storm, I think it is. It was in Guitar... One of the Guitar Heroes.
I mean, I can't help you out
Fire
here.
and
I don't.
Through the Fire and Flames is fine. Fury of the Storm, that's it. I love that song. Or at least... I love a lot of Dragon Force stuff, but then some stuff is just... It's a bit too much, you know? It's there's an acquired taste, I suppose, in some ways. I'm disappointed that Smilo wasn't Philosophy Tube. That was crazy. Philosophy Tube was in The Acolyte and House of the Dragon.
And House of the Dragon, yeah, which were both coming out at the same time.
It's like I said in my last video, nothing shattered my immersion into dust in a show faster than seeing Philosophy Tube in House of the Dragon.
We made comparisons
Instantly
like Ronald McDonald just being in the scene. Like what the fuck? Like why is that there?
Basically.
It's just a bit strange.
This weird
like,
I think we said if
clown
Trump
YouTubers
turned
show
up, it would be like that. You cannot like what?
Oh, I was like, at least
I
he's a
think,
politician, like a
remember
real politician.
The game theory guy shown in Five
Oh,
Nights at
yeah.
Freddy's. That's one of those ones where it's like, oh, that's fun.
That wasn't that bad. Yeah,
that follows.
I'm here.
Whereas-
I'm here for a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. You know,
yeah,
it
also,
sort
there's
of
good
fits.
meta reason for that as well. I'd say
Exactly. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah,
Whereas in other circumstances, when like a YouTuber shows up, it's just like, oh, don't remind me of these worlds like merging together.
Did you guys like the season 2 finale of Smiling Friends? I thought it was mid, but I think I'm just sad it's over now.
I enjoyed every episode of that season, and I thought it was a fun ending as well, right? Like of the ocean becoming sentient.
Yeah,
and coming
I
to
think
get him.
I really think it was a solid second season. I guess the only problem is that it's not as new, you know, all of it.
Well, yeah, I think something that we talked shortly after it ended was a question of even in the second season starting to address aspects of the format and the world in ways that it seemed like with like a third season or beyond that an angle to go with is like essentially reinvent or changes to the formula, like but might not be the case that like smiling for even though Charlie acknowledges that the world he lives in, that might not like change the format of the show, that it was still essentially the same idea, which is wacky character behaving normally in a wacky world, which I don't mind at all if it's that way and be funny. But yes, there are, even though I think it's really good, and I think a handful of the episodes in that season, like among my top 5, that it as season 1 was.
Yeah, like I'll always remember Professor Psychotic dealing with his brother is just
oh
comedy
my
gold.
god, yeah.
And the flat Earth joke.
How about the economy and my patience? It's running thin, buddy. Paper thin like these walls.
The flat Earth joke being possibly the favorite in the series,
yeah,
it's a contender.
I mentioned it before, but I really like the episode. That's a good episode. Having in the shop. Okay, what's up, man? What do you want, huh? What do you need? Don't get nervous now. What? Ask your question. What? Look, asshole. Like, asshole? Yeah, you call me an asshole? Yes, I did, because you're being an asshole. I'm in the middle of something. Fuck you. Don't you work here? I'm just a customer. You must stop. I'm not bugging you. I'm just asking, what do you need?
An easy recommendation. The best season 2 we've gotten, I guess.
The best season 2 of the year, yes.
Out of the selection.
Yeah.
It feels like we close up the season 2 discussion with Andor's release.
Andor,
though technically it should be with Squid Game because that's the end of season 2.
That was the last one of. Yes.
They refused to release at the same time.
I don't know. They chose to have it be that length and to make the format the show that way. So.
I mean, that's true and everything. I just
is the anticipated one. That's the last one left out of a bunch of season 2s. There was reason to be hopeful for.
My take on just how good season 2, quote unquote, even is for Squid Game is essentially dependent on what they
tentative.
Yeah, like it's hard to just be definitive without the other half of the fucking story. It was annoying, but hey, what if the real Acolyte was the enemies we made along the way? Nice way to put it. How wonderful. Thoughts on Kingdom of Heaven memes with the King? I like the King memes. They're good.
I like the King meme. Baldwin the Fourth is.
He was also like the best
cool
character
guy
in the movie. He was really entertaining and interesting. You gotta feel bad for him. He did his best. Nobody cares about talking about the actual history just through the lens of that movie. That's what the history is now. Thank you, Ridley. Did you know that Napoleon shot cannonballs into the pyramids?
Yeah, that's like a movie that feels like it came and went.
That'll show him.
That was an annoying movie to watch. That was like it's an annoying movie. It's and yet at the same time it just feels like kind of so purposeless at the same. It's like what are we trying to say really here? And it's like, oh, Napoleon was like or something. It's like it's like okay. Like right, that's a good use of 2.5 hours. Just, yeah.
Well, 2.5 hours, a huge budget, and a topic that many people would like to have seen a big old movie about.
I suppose the interesting thing is that of course once again sparks the conversations about historical accuracy as a and its relevance in films. As like it or not, like people generally assume that like movies are telling them like the truth when it comes to history,
at least in spirit.
In spirit, yeah, not necessarily in terms of just how everything plays out. The idea would be that like the story is capturing the truth of the situation in a more dramatic way. And
and there are loads of ways to be inaccurate.
Exactly.
There are ways that are way more preferable, and that one did not hit that.
Well,
Yeah, generating drama or inventing a few little side characters in order to get the gist of
or
things.
squeezing the timeline to make things more dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, like Chernobyl took a whole bunch of people and their efforts and combined them into a single person who could be a character in a narrative. Like that was probably a good change for dramatic reasons. But there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. It's definitely on a spectrum. It's not like, oh, well, turns out the Germans won World War II, and you're like, wait a second, this isn't the same as getting a quote wrong or the timeline a little strange.
Alt history can be a lot of fun as well, but obviously, yes, this was supposed to be sort of for a mainstream audience informational about Napoleon, which people did not appreciate.
Which it wasn't at all. Like I mean, the pyramids one got people notably annoyed because of his like
response,
appreciation and interest. Oh well, his response was terrible. Yeah. But it was also just because it was like the opposite of reflecting like his interest in sort of the rejuvenation of interest in ancient Egypt that was spawned from that endeavor.
It was it was essentially the beginnings of modern archaeology began because of all the people he took on campaign with him.
So to have it be that he just didn't give a shit about
your job is to find stuff, pick it up, and write it down, and bring it with us.
And also just like the battles didn't do even like remotely a good job of capturing the idea. I mean, like
the most famous element of the character.
Because they had Austerlitz there, and it was just like, it's just like we're not. Why aren't we? Why isn't more effort being made? If you're going to be making a film, if it was like if you were making a film about Alexander the Great, if you're not going to be dealing with essentially their acumen as like commanders, like what's the point really? That's what people are interested in seeing. But but really it was his comments that were like I don't know. I'm not sure what is his deal. Like why is he like why is it was he always like this or
was he always
why is it? Well, no, I just was like the things he's like of like oh was anybody there or something or like what even is like being a historian or whatever. Well, essentially, I that's not exactly. I'm paraphrasing, but these sorts of dismissals for like, because what was it he said for Gladiator 2? Like you couldn't like prove me wrong that they could like flood the Colosseum and put sharks in it or something. Like
he said like as long as it's physically possible, then whatever. Which is like,
as far as I know, they did actually fill the Colosseum to reenact naval battles.
Do they put sharks in it?
Probably. I don't think they put sharks in it.
I think that's what the
that
quote
one's a bit
about, like,
wild.
I'd have to go and check him, but I think that he said like it is possible they could have gotten sharks taken from X place to another place, and then
Yes, it's logically possible that they could have transported sharks. Yes, that breaks no laws of logic that they could have done that.
I don't know. It's just it's. I think like a failure to recognize that people are gonna like treat what you present. I mean, it's a topic with the Patriot, right? It's just it's like a contentious part of that film is like, well, you should probably bear in mind that like viewers do make assumptions about the real world essentially based on what you present. Not to say that you're bound to be 100% historically accurate, but like don't be like dismissive about the idea that people are interested in historical accuracy.
Don't belittle the fact that people care.
No, don't do that.
Definitely not.
We see this kind of often in EFAP, depressingly. It happens with Star Wars a bunch, when people actually care about like consistency and lore and characters, and it gets so just like, thrown away instantly by people to defend the show. Like, oh, so you care about continuity, you care about lore, you care about consistency, and that's belittled. They're like, no,
I find it particularly bizarre because they do as well. They just haven't figured it yet, I guess. Like, any given payoff in the OT would be built on a bunch of continuity. Whether they understand that or not. Hey, lightsaber colors. Be neat.
It's red.
Producers molding over fans, holding them accountable for their terrible shows. It's a really sad state that wouldn't hold up in any other industry. Yeah, it's just so rare to see any artist in the modern era say, I fucked up. or
a good point.
that
I
was
made a
not,
mistake.
yeah, that did not turn out the way I was looking for. And I think someone might be like, well, if they put all their effort in, they should have the spine to back their own artwork. And it's like, well, can you at least admit that it didn't do the job you were hoping it would do for the audience?
And not to say that the people are because they didn't like what you made, that there might be reason and cause for their frustration.
It's their fault.
Yeah, because the playing card of any given ism or is phobe thing of like why they didn't like it is just really tired. But
Well, it's not even going to work. Like, what's your plan? Oh, you've convinced me. Now I will like something I didn't like.
I've never thought of it really, at least now and nowadays, because of how much. Maybe it started that way. Like I'll convince them by letting them know they're being prejudiced or bigoted. But these days, it just feels like a signal to everyone around. Like that's why my work's not liked. By the way, guys, I'm pretty cool. I made something pretty good, but I'm being hit by those people. Then other people go like, oh, those people. It's like, yeah. But of course, if it's not got like the Acolyte was just not watched by anybody, so what's the excuse?
Yeah, which if nobody even wants to watch it, then
Because like we got no illusions about Andor. If someone said, "Well, does that mean it's bad?" It'd be like, "Well, no, it's just it has nothing working for it in terms of like marketing."
It suffered having released after Obi-Wan Kenobi, which itself was simply the latest in a long line of disappointment.
Yeah, and it's a character
and that it was
nobody
about
cares
a character
about.
who was exactly
a spin-off
now
of a
they do,
spin-off.
obviously. But,
It's a TV
at the
show.
time.
It's like, yeah, there's a better time to release something like that, and there's better ways to strategize something like that.
Yeah.
To be honest, like before it was even conceived, if they'd suggested it, I think we talked about it back in the day, just being like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. Like, not that it's impossible for it to be good, of course, but just that it's like, of all the things you could do, you're not helping yourself by doing that.
No.
Star Wars has been over the last many years, so it unfortunately has sort of softly been training its audience to not care about characters and drama and stuff because it hasn't done that well in decades, quite frankly. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's the wrong franchise for that kind of a production. As odd as that kind of sounds.
What can be said in terms of how much damage Mandalorian did to it, because of making them think that they should pursue like a fully TV show version of Star Wars, like completely with everything.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably hurt the prestige of Star Wars.
Season 1, right, is like, oh, so well received, everyone loves it. Let's go. Let's convert those Boba Fett and Obi-Wan movies into TV shows. Disney Plus, yes, let's go. And then it's just like, good God, look what happened.
Well, yeah, I think it has to have harmed it because it used to be that I don't know. There's a difference between how people feel versus TV shows in general, and then when you couple that the TV shows aren't, even the production values aren't very impressive anymore.
No,
like they've started to really
the best way to
fall behind.
Illustrate that would be Mandalorian season 1 versus 3.
Exactly. Like it went from being something that was like quality production aside from the script, to like streaming sludge.
Just get it out sort of thing.
Yeah, which is not what Star Wars used to be. Like when obviously when the OT was coming out, that was special. When the prequels was coming out, despite all of the, the differing sort of feelings about it, like I don't think anybody would be looking at that at the time and thinking like, well, this isn't something that somebody who isn't passionate about trying to make, I guess some people might have tried it, but I mean, and then even with the sequels, right, there was a level of prestige there too that was squandered. And now, yeah, Star Wars isn't special. It's not special when a new Star comes out. Now
Skeleton
it's
Crew
is
just
and boring.
Kind of just proven, like, oh god.
Yeah.
This thing to be said is like, how much
Wars.
damage did the Acolyte do on top of everything that was already done? It's like, yep.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
now it's not special, and there's no guarantee that you should even be fucking interested in like whatever's happening now for Star Wars, because the story's so rudderless.
Rags, no, you're supposed to eat You're not supposed to eat chocolate.
I can eat a little bit.
A little bit. There you go.
It's based off of like body mass. You can eat some. Your weight. The poisons in the dosage, as they say.
Hi, I'm gay actor Michael Douglas. Don't get Viasat
Hi.
internet.
I won't.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Or whatever Fringy has today.
Yeah.
Huh?
You've been you
What?
cut out like 1 word per tad, maybe 20.
What? Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
Well,
I'm telling
it
you
was
now, just artfully.
essentially tolerable, you know. You can kind of fill in
But
the
it's
blanks.
worthy of mention,
Yeah.
and that was just how I wanted to work that into the conversation.
I don't think there's anything you do about it anyway. It doesn't sound like a connection issue or anything. Like in the sense of mechanics, it sounds like an internet fucking you over
Yeah,
kind of
because I
thing.
can Mauler just fine.
So the incredibly stupid line in this show about lightsabers only being drawn to kill, or whatever the frick, a shite reference to the Bushido code. Quote, despite its role as a weapon, the katana is also linked to the Bushido value of respect for life. Samurai were trained to use their katana responsibly and to not draw their sword unnecessarily. The act of drawing the katana meant that the samurai was prepared to kill or be killed, was not taken lightly. So the writers read the Bushido code, were like, that's dank and cool as fuck, let's include it. More cargo cult writing, crude facsimiles of meaning. If that's supposed to
It
be some kind
has
of justification for why like they're so retarded with drawing their weapons in the show, that's great. Gotta love that.
the super chat talking about the Bushido code kind of reminds me of how little we really know about. We lamented this in the show in our discussions often, but how we've had so many vehicles to explore the Jedi, really, but we have not done that. It hasn't happened yet. The Acolyte, in
Well,
theory, could have been an excellent opportunity for us to actually learn about the Jedi, how they see their place in the galaxy, how others see them, what their training's like, what their connection with the Force is, especially if you want to contrast that to the way that other people see the Force. And we got nothing relating to any of those.
it's just because a lot of writers have persisted in, oh, the Jedi is just kind of like sci-fi, vague Zen Buddhism, Taoism, without like any development of like, well, no, like it's just like, oh yeah, no, the Force is everywhere, and it's all things, and you gotta feel the Force, and you gotta. And that's it'll guide you, and that's like as far as anybody wants to go in
Well,
terms of developing it, to where you don't get any, because of course, mentioning Buddhism, it's like, well, Zen Buddhism is one of many schools of Buddhism, right? Which kind of reflects the nature of how differing ideas on how the differing ideas can develop, and like, well, why wouldn't that be the case with the Jedi? Why wouldn't there be different schools of thought in the Jedi? Different ideas related to the nature of what the Force means in terms of guidance, whether or not it's like something that should be relied on, or whether or not you're simply describing like effect. And then stuff like Bushido or something, right? What is like the philosophy of the warrior, essentially, the nature of their responsibility as an agent in this world. It's never it's just, yeah, like, oh, listen to the Force, use the Force, it will guide you. That's all it is.
It's
well, I
funny,
mean,
right? Like, I usually
we
bring up how much I want Sith stuff, but we really haven't had even close to enough Jedi stuff at all.
yeah,
No.
we don't even know what to. If they gave us a bunch of Sith stuff, it's like we wouldn't know what to contrast that with. We don't know anything about the Jedi, which would be so bizarre considering how much they want to fillet the Jedi all the time, and we have to have lightsabers. We have to make new Jedi. Order 66 was an
Well, we got the
inside job, or
thread.
blah blah blah.
That was great. New
Oh,
way to look at the Force.
that'll be
Oh
brought up
yes,
ever
everyone
again.
will build on that. They'll get several writers will be like, I'd love to make more of this thing that you made. What's her name? Head Leslie.
Said Leslie
Headland.
Headland.
That's the one. Yeah, their work will echo through the ages. I'm sure.
Like we said, we needed a Law and Order, but in Star Wars, where the Jedi are like the pseudo cops and they work with local law enforcement. And if people say people don't want that, it's like, okay, but Law and Order is an insanely successful show that's had countless iterations and continues to be successful to this day. Don't tell me that's not something that people would find interesting.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, Disney could certainly learn from the successes of other television shows, other than the strict realized big budget television show that they're clearly incapable of doing with any degree of reliability.
I've always
Maybe Star Wars would benefit from a more non-serialized format, like a procedural show, like Law and Order or NCIS or something.
the era between the prequels and the OT being the remnants of the Separatists and the Jedi. Could you imagine the amount of stories you can tell?
Oh yeah,
Well,
I
the
mean, it
Clone
would be
Wars is
so
just
interesting.
it's only for nostalgia. It didn't actually
Yeah.
happen in the universe, but it's something for the
No.
audience to remember because of movies. This
'cause,
galaxy-spanning conflict, which was,
God,
albeit short, was really, really important in the galactic
I
timeline
mean,
in terms of its scale
in
and
a
destruction.
sense, Firefly could be like a good template to look at for
Yeah.
doing a show about the fallout of the Clone Wars from the perspective of the Separatists, or like a character
You
who
can
is
have
in
any kind
favor of
of
the Separatists.
cowboyish type bounty hunter,
Yeah.
or not even a bounty hunter, just a fighter, and you're like, did you fight for the Separatists? And he's like, doesn't matter if I fought for, like, trying to keep it secret sort of thing.
Right, and then like when he gets pushed a bit more, he actually is like, bro, like Galactic Republic like collapsed. It's
Yeah.
like it totally fell apart.
Neither of
When
our
that happened-
factions exist anymore. Isn't that
Exactly.
interesting?
Yeah, and then maybe his perspective is sort of familiar with all of the crazy shenanigans the Emperor got up to. His attitude is just one of, if the Separatists existed, then maybe like everybody wouldn't be screwed. Maybe there would be like a force that would exist that could be a banner
counterforce
under
to the
which people
Empire.
could have like liberty and freedom, and that it could actually like combat the Empire. But instead, you said we couldn't exist, and then you failed, and now we all suffer. None of this will ever happen. There will never be any interesting shows ever again in
No.
Star Wars after Andor. That's it for the next 10 years, probably.
I'm a bit
until we get
curious about
lucky.
Andor's season 2 reception, considering everything that's been discussed about it in the interim.
More people will be paying attention, that's for sure.
I feel like more people will be paying
the word of
attention
mouth has
just
been
to
extremely positive.
be like ready to criticize it as well. The people who
Maybe. The
did
people
not like
who
season
don't
1 will be like, I'll be watching this time. People keep saying, oh, it's so good, I'll be there. I wonder if the ratings for it will be better.
I hope they're better.
I certainly hope so.
I hope they're better for good
It's
reason.
Star Wars' only hope right now. It really is like their only hope
Yeah.
as far as projects that I'm aware of are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing approaching having actual artistry and a story to tell. I mean, when we were we watched the interview with the that one chick who played the cult leader in Acolyte, and we contrasted her with the actress who played Mon Mothma in Andor, and the differences in the way that they describe their characters and their motivations and what they how they connected with the characters, and it was night and day.
Well, you should cover Campia's 10 Ways to Fix Star Wars video. You could do that.
Oh, okay.
That could be interesting.
10 ways? I mean, maybe we'll agree with some of them.
Hey, maybe we'll learn something.
Maybe he'll
I'm
suggest the
wondering,
Muppets.
Would it be boring or would it be wacky? The kinds of suggestions that he would come up with.
Boring or lackey?
Wacky.
Oh, I thought you said lackey, as in like lacking any
No.
substance.
As in surprising.
There's going to be a few wacky boys in there. I think there will be 2 wacky boys.
Yeah, like
that's a fair guess.
You'll get a lot of standard stuff, like you need to focus. Like you need to have a story. You need to make sure you got to connect everything. We got to have a Thanos in there.
Overarching
there'll be overarching villain. Yeah, we need to learn more about the
that
Jedi.
worked out
some
really
kind of
well
standard
for Phase
stuff,
4 and 5 of the MCU, didn't it?
This is what I mean. Like some of them I find amusing because it's just like, oh my god, here we are again. But maybe he'll throw some wild cards. I'm in it just for the Muppet suggestions. I find those hilarious. Damn, Mark isn't here for the Elden Ring talk. Shout out to him because I want more Sekiro likes. Fuck yeah, dude. Sekiro should have gotten a sequel. I don't know what they're doing over there at From, but then again, they are making shit tons of money, so maybe.
Yeah, Elden Ring is the most successful game, so.
Elden Ring 2, baby!
Well, they said they're not making a sequel, right?
I think so. See what happens next. Are there any other creatives in history who've been so good at what they do across multiple mediums for so long as Trey Parker and Matt Stone?
Yeah, there have definitely been, like, polymaths throughout history. I mean, what do we...
Well, maybe they want in the specific field of just making movies and TV shows for decades. Is there anyone we think is
yeah, because Trey Parker and Matt Stone were successful with movies, television shows, and a musical. which is really is a tremendous accomplishment. It really is like very impressive. Okay, who? I almost like being successful in film and television like isn't good enough. There needs to be like some other medium that's more of not like a sure thing in terms of you wouldn't necessarily expect that someone who's great at making films would make an amazing music or
Yeah, I think we have
write an
a
excellent
handful
book.
of movie, TV show people at the same time that we could reference. So
Well, yeah,
it
like
feels
Spielberg, I mean, he didn't like direct. I don't think he directed any. He executive produced plenty of great television shows,
yeah.
like Animaniacs and whatnot, and made several amazing films. I'm trying to think then, like, what would be? I mean, I guess one that's worth thinking about is a really great actor who turns their hand to directing and does a really good job at that too. It's
Sure,
like two
yeah.
very different disciplines.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I mean that's a good pick.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Who else is leaping out?
Because it's not just that they make multiple things, but that they stayed good. We already struggle to find anybody who stays good anyway. Like, it's a tough one, and I don't even. I'm not. That's not even like just being mean. It's just reality. It's tough to be consistently good.
Consistently awesome.
Yeah,
it is.
because you know, like Mike Flanagan. It's like he's done really good TV shows and some awesome movies, but it's like, I don't know if I would count because it kind of like how far out of his own wheelhouse has he actually gone to create something or do something that's like remarkably good. To that point, we'd have to count a lot of people probably.
I guess an interesting one is if you're directing films that are live action, it's not like a sure thing that you're going to be able to go and do an animated film and that it's all going to work out. And so I'm trying to think about like what would be like examples of directors who made an animated film and succeeded. I mean, Guillermo del Toro, like Pinocchio,
Yeah,
is
I mean,
Sure,
that's
really
a great
good. Yeah.
film. Hmm.
It's also nice to have things where you take in like other talents of the actors that you're using for the production. An example
Yeah.
would be Bob Crane, who plays Hogan in Hogan's Heroes. He did the prominent drums that were in the theme song because
I
he
didn't know
was a
that.
drummer. So there's things like that it's neat to know are incorporated together, that they're part of the production. It makes it feel like it's more of a team oriented, like obviously all shows and productions are, but when you see stuff like that, it's like, oh hey, I'm a drummer, and then he ends up being that kind of thing as well as being the main actor.
I don't
That's
know
kind
why
of it's nice to see.
sparked a memory, but I mean, Orson Welles is obviously
Who?
Orson Welles, I'm assuming.
Orson Welles
Yeah.
is obviously.
Oh yeah,
Obviously
it's
the
true. It's
pick.
true.
I mean, great actor, great writer, great director across multiple mediums. That's an easy choice. I mean, yeah, the reality is it usually when you're talking about, I mean, people just stick to like their lane basically. A lot of the time people will just stick to the thing that they're good at, whether that's acting, directing, or writing. It is interesting to think about the people who just tend to be multidisciplinary and excel at all of them, because that is difficult. And then, of course, you're
With the
particularly impressed
time
by the
commitments and
guys
all
who's
these
like,
things
"Oh,
too.
you're
Yeah.
an amazing writer, but also you're like a brilliant scientist, and you're a statesman, and you're like like
You're an
a
OC made
sailor."
manifest. Yeah.
Yeah, just like like your Benjamin Franklins or your or like Galileo or any number of Da Vinci. These characters.
Modern FromSoftware is just faster DS2. I also hate Lion Man. A lot of people did say that Elden Ring was like a better realized version of what DS2 was going for.
How so?
You'd have to check with them because I always thought that Elden Ring was a lot better than DS2. So,
but you're the rest DS2 expert, so I figured you'd be able to explain it to me.
Been a while.
Detect it. What do you mean? You streamed it so recently,
That's
Mo.
true. That's true. I might have been slightly intoxicated though.
That's
Only
true.
makes me more perceptive, really.
Might give you an edge, yeah.
Skill issue. This could be regarding Leslie Headland or from related things. Who could say? Watching this while building a Lego Porsche and recovering from strep. Thanks for the good tisms, lads. Much appreciated. Are any of you lads going to the AC? Going to play AC Shadows? Gameplay looks neat, but Ubisoft.
Man, like
Probably not,
maybe
but
I might.
maybe.
I just don't really care about
Maybe.
Assassin's Creed anyway, but maybe for the memes, I don't know.
I guess the thing is I used to care about Assassin's Creed
Yeah,
a lot.
Spawn a Dream.
And hey, this might be the last one, right? Like, I mean, who knows? So,
The fact that so many people are just comfortably talking about how, well, this will kill Ubisoft's or Assassin's Creed as a concept.
Well, I mean, I suppose the thing is that this is meant to be the first game as part of the broader, like, ongoing live service Assassin's Creed concept that they've come up with, and they've already got other ones that they're developing. But I mean, we all kind of recognize that there's a lot on the line for this one. Ubisoft is just plainly not doing very well at the moment, and you know, Star Wars Outlaws is clearly failed, clearly didn't do as well as it needed to. And this is clearly not a cheap game. Assassin's Creed Shadows is clearly not cheap.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, it feels like it's such an uphill battle. I am really, in a sense, like, I'm kind of struck by having. If you asked me, well, hey, so have you got Assassin's Creed games set in Japan? Like, what do you want? It's like, oh, you play as a ninja. It's like, oh, and a samurai? It's like, nah, no, a ninja. It's called Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
But they're like, yeah, but man, Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla, you know, they're like more, you know, of combat games. So we need to make sure that we satisfy both the old school fans of Assassin's Creed and the new ones. And it's like, man, I think you probably should have just had a ninja. Like, I don't know if it was a good idea to you know, maybe be like, well, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. It's like, yeah, maybe that's what you need to do though, as sort of a signal of intentions with the game compared to, well, you know, if you want to do stealth, but also if you want combat, here's this other option. It's like, nah, just let me play as a ninja. I don't need to play as a samurai. I want to play as a samurai. I'll play Ghost of Tsushima, you know? Like, you're Assassin's Creed. It should be a ninja.
You have competitors who have very high, like, people really like those games, the competition for being a samurai. So maybe do your own thing really well.
It is inevitably going to be compared to Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that you make that a lot harder if it's just a ninja game where you're not doing lots of like combat with, you know, swords. But again, they probably thought like, well, no, but this is a great idea because then you can play as a ninja and a samurai, the two kind of like archetypes that you would want in a game like this. And it's like, I don't know, man, you probably should have just committed to one. You probably should have just committed to one.
Because I don't feel like we're going to get a situation like Dishonored 2 where you would play the game either as Corvo or the chick, I forget her name, and they had very different abilities, Emily, and they kind of had different styles to the way that they would play. So it gave you a different experience on multiple playthroughs if you wanted to have, you know, play as the other character. I just don't. I don't know.
My guess would be that they will be nominally different, but that both of them will be viable combat. That would be my big, and that you can play as either of them whenever you want for any mission. Which someone might say that's good, right? It's like, I don't know, maybe that's bad. Maybe it should be that you have to pick one, or that the game time you got to play as one or the other. Maybe that will be the case though. But I get the impression that it's definitely like play it your way, and it's like, I don't know, maybe like there's a degree to which you should essentially define the bounds of the experiences that you're looking to offer. Not to say that you should be restrictive like Star Wars Outlaws was. There's a fine line between that, but like, you know, if you look at a stealth game like Splinter Cell, like you can play it your way to an extent. Like ultimately, it's a stealth game, with everything that goes along with being a stealth game.
I'm a little bit confused with this one. Rags Fringy, what do you think about the objectively wrong opinion he reaches a bad game?
I don't understand the question. I guess it's like a broken question.
We really appreciate your patronage. We truly do. But when you send these, if you don't send them in a way that's like
Legible.
grammatically logical, then I don't know what to really do with that.
We do try sometimes
I don't
to decipher, but I haven't got anything for this one. I think it's just there might be just one or too many words at the same time that were missed out or misspelled, so I can't even.
Kind of fascinating that there's just one or two words missing from a sentence ruins it. It's just like,
At least it does in this
Well,
case.
because it's like the object of the like. If you miss out a the or an a, it's like okay, we can piece that together. But if it's the word that is the object of like the entire sentence, then
Bit of a
I don't
problem.
know what you're referring to. I'm
But
sorry.
they
I don't
follow up
apologize, isn't
with,
you?
what are your basic opinions on Halo 4? I'm editing a 1.5-hour video about it sucking. Hi,
Damn.
moobs. Hello.
I think Halo 4 has got a lot of problems. And I think that I think everybody accepts that the multiplayer campaign is a more complicated one for people to deal with, but the reality is that a lot of the decisions that were made for the story in Halo 4 are like illogical. They had their own objectives that do not align with the overall narrative objectives of the Halo trilogy. For instance, turning Master Chief into a totally different character instantly. All of the changes to the Forerunner lore. Well, Cortana
the Forerunner
is
stuff.
more of a Halo 5 problem, I would say, but still, you can be speaking to that there. Like, basically, it's a story that is actually pretty difficult to justify as being in continuity with the Halo trilogy. So I don't. None of the 343 canon. Sorry, Halo Studios. None of that's canon.
They've made it easy to divorce it from the original Bungie works.
Yeah, they changed the art style. That helps. Oh, this
that helps a lot. Thanks, man.
So yeah, Halo 4 is not a good video game, and it is crazy to think that fucking not a small number of reviewers said that it was the best Halo game ever. That's what IGN basically got at. Was, oh, what if 343 actually ended up making like the best Halo game ever? It's like, well, they didn't. So not even close. But whatever. Thanks, guy. I do, in a sense, almost blame like the response to Halo 4 for like what Halo 5 became.
I think so. Yeah, it clearly laid the groundwork for the destruction of that franchise.
Yeah, I think it made them too cocky that they came out and they got smoke blown up their ass by game journos. Meanwhile, they were to the fact that a lot of players were really unhappy with Halo 4, but they just went full steam ahead with like their own stupid ideas.
Rewatch the Hot D episode for EFAP Season 1 and Prep Season 2. Mauler asks why Rhaenyra married off 2 sons. It was guaranteed that Rhaenys' line would inherit both the Iron Throne in Jace and Baela's son and Driftmark in Luke and Rhaenyra's son before he went ahead and died. That's not desperation. I disagree. I think she made a mistake. Those were some of the most significant chips she had to play to tempt people to join her side. They are the royal line, so if you marry them off immediately to someone who's basically already in your team, being Rhaenys' side with Corlys and everything, that's 2 playing cards that were some of the most significant for marriage connections that you've now lost. I think I could buy using one, but to spend both without a very long discussion about how you've got all these other families who literally will turn on you if they get a marriage option from the other team, and none for you to counter with. It's way too important not to just spend them like that. And that bites them in the ass in the show. It's the I forget, it's Boris Baratheon, I think. He says his daughter's going to marry Aemond, and what's the counter offer? And there isn't one.
Yeah, that's right. He was really mad.
Well, it's the reality of the situation. He came with a threat. He was just like, if you don't join up with us, we'll remember that. And he's like, okay, fuck you. Because it's like,
exactly.
you got to be careful with a lot of these. They're very ego-driven families who are looking to be more powerful. And as much as you have dragons, they've got people who are offering them stuff who also have dragons. So it's big old chess game. Like I said, I am always in favor of more discussions, more council meetings, and if Season 2 proved anything, it was that the Black Council is fucked. and in a bad way
Yeah.
on the writer's side of things.
And
Unfortunate.
the Green Council is actually interesting.
Yes, filled with great character dynamic stuff and choices being made that are actually
Mhm.
careful and oftentimes intelligent. Oh, Otto, come back to us, please.
Come
Save
back,
us.
Otto.
Elden Ring is the only game where the developers tell you how to play and the players defend it with just play it the way they say. Skill issue, lol. There's, I mean, you know, it's up to you whether or not you consider this a huge detriment or not. It's a careful balance thing, but yeah, Elden Ring has the most, dare I call it, hand-holding. Maybe I'll just call it guidance out of all the FromSoftware games. Like,
Yeah, because if you say hand-holding, that might make people mad.
it has the most of like trying to make sure the player understands where they're going, what they're doing, and how they get more powerful. Which, you know, can have pros and cons to that. Always has. Just wanted to say I watched all of Firefly and Serenity because of Muller and Drinker. Great show with a pretty decent wrap-up movie. Great time. Hi, Fringy.
A pretty decent wrap-up movie.
I love Serenity.
It's great.
I love Serenity, the
great
episode
movie.
and the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Firefly is fabulous, and Drinker is only into episode 8, and he's already
Oh.
a super fan. So I imagine the movie will do its job quite well for him. Greetings, Massive. Several years of watching EFAP has had a profound impact on my understanding and appreciation of media. It has inspired me to build my own channel. Please take this money as a small token of my gratitude. Thank you.
Oh
Appreciate
yeah.
it. Best
Thank
of
you.
luck. Go for it. Counterpoint Theo, it's really funny to see Metal get smacked by an attack that was telegraphed weeks before and Metal still rolls into it. I assume this is talking about how the nature of the animations has become such that before it would be the lift up to bring down was much more realistic in the sense of how people attack
hold
people.
it for like 5 seconds. They'll hold it because
They'll
they know
hold
that
it.
you're gonna roll.
They'll even fucking feign and then bring it back and then attack again. You know, like crazy nonsense shit that's just like, what are we doing? What even is this anymore? And it's just like, well,
They're
you guys have
punishing you for
gotten too
rolling.
good.
That's
The reality
that's
is,
what
you
it
guys are too good at the fucking game. We got to make it harder.
I do enjoy how stupid they look sometimes.
Yeah.
With how long they'll hold on.
Oh, there's loads of really great videos about that. Like animations
Was
is a
what
big fun of
Matthew
it.
Matosis talked about as well,
Oh,
right?
that, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that it will hold for a split second longer than you think it should, and then it will punish you.
Well, they lift up, and then, because I can't remember what animation this is, but someone lifts up a sword, and then the guy goes roll, 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 and then looks up at the guy, and then he just hits him. It's like, fuck.
Good meme.
Thank you guys for not being brainwashed by FromSoftware. I thought we accepted DS2 design was bad, but we backtracked with Elden Ring. I hate OP Spirit Summons also. Yeah, Elden Ring is not the direction I was hoping they would go, especially when I way prefer the... Obviously, Sekiro I think is the best. Bloodborne is a really cool sort of branch. And then there are different ways to evolve Dark Souls, but Elden Ring just feels like it's Dark Souls again, but now it's bigger. Which I've said has come with what I think are its own significant design flaws for not having linear level design when you instead create a big old world. I don't think Dark Souls was ever built for that either. You know, that and the multiple enemy engagements is another thing that FromSoftware hadn't yet probably cracked. So, you know, have to see where else they go. Bloodborne is still peak for me. It's got its flaws, but I feel like it's the most balanced and fair, except for the Lawrence fight. Yeah, that needed... Give Lawrence's health bar to Maria. That is the fix. Switch them. And everyone will be happy, trust me. But yeah, no, I love Bloodborne, and a Bloodborne 2 refining everything in the game would have been real neat. But the newest news for Bloodborne is that we're not getting anything official. We'll get instead a mod desperately emulating it to give people the 60 FPS they deserve. Maybe even more FPSs.
More is better.
I am all the gay. Vaporizes chat.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty cool. Do we agree the plot in Elden Ring DLC is way weaker than it should be? FromSoft have done much better and still can. Good luck with the new video metal. Not the man to ask. I think you'd have to go with...
That game is a plot?
Allegedly. I assume Theo would know about it. He did a video on the DLC, but maybe he wasn't concerned with the story. I'm not sure. Theo may be an elitist, but he's still right about it. Well, that's the best kind of elitist.
Mm-hmm.
Want him to be right. In chess, in digital form, is that considered a video game? It functions differently technically with things such as pre-moves and the squares being highlighted when selecting on a piece. Always love you all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so.
suppose it'd be a video game, yeah. Like if it's yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it is a board game, but like it would be a video game, like in terms
At
of
that point, yeah.
yeah. I mean, in the same sense that if there was a Monopoly, which I'm sure there is, a Monopoly
There's
game, it's
digital
like well,
monopolies, yeah.
that's a video game. It's a video game based on a board game, but it's a video game.
I mean, the easiest probably way to answer this is that if the board game never existed, would you have any question about this? And it's like, well, yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they said, could you check out Zaku 2 from the Gundam series and rate how it looks? A lot of results for having trouble narrowing this down. I don't know if this is what we're looking at, but there's loads of different colors of these. Maybe that's broadly the design that you can have different colors.
Well, I recognize it. I recognize the look, though I don't know really anything about Gundam, but I've seen that around. You know, people building models and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks.
Looking
I think it looks
robot
neat.
fella. Yeah.
Yeah, looks neat.
I'm fine.
I don't really know anything about Gundam either.
Nah, I don't.
No, I'm not familiar with Gundam. Big robots, though. I like them.
I do like big robots, so maybe I would like it.
Been thinking about this lately. Do you think it would be good to just reboot Star Wars, start over, new canon? I think so. Well,
The last
I mean,
10 years have swayed me to the affirmative. However, it would be. I mean, like I've tossed around the idea before of you don't even have to make another continuity, just have it set in another galaxy.
I mean, there's all that, but like, if I've got the power to restart entirely in like a different timeline, I'd rather just decanonize.
Yep.
Strip it all away. I mean, I almost don't think I should have that power because of the amount of strip it I would fucking do. I'd almost want to be like, okay, let's find all of the most talented people that are connected to Star Wars over the years that the fans love their stories of. We need to get them back and start rebuilding.
You mean like Dave Filoni?
No, not that one. I was going to say there would be a second phase to this, which would be that we vet, make sure. It's Timothy Zahn, isn't it? The guy who made the Thrawn?
Thrawn. Yeah.
That seems to be some of the most well-received Star Wars content that isn't the OT. So I would be curious to see if we could get him. And then, other creative people that are involved in any given project. I mean, I wouldn't... I'd have a conversation with Filoni. I don't know how long it would last. I'd be like, what's your vision for Star Wars? And then listen to hear about it and be like, that's great, dude. Anyway.
That's cute. You're fired.
That's what's kind of interesting at this point is it's probably hard to get like a lot of your imagine if you were trying to be like, you wanna do a Star Wars movie. That would probably never happen. Even if you said you could do whatever you want, we promise.
Well, yeah,
it still wouldn't happen.
He wouldn't, but that's the thing, right? It would be so interesting to get meetings, which maybe you could at that point because of the level of production you'd have or like the role you have, but to talk to all kinds of your favorite writers and directors and be like, what would it take for you to do a Star Wars movie? And you'd think a lot of them would be like, I need creative control, and you'd be like, we can do that, find a way.
Well, I mean, clearly, whatever. I suppose what's funny is like, well, is the big problem with Star Wars a lack of creative control? Not quite, but like, it's not exactly the same problem as like, I mean, it's been said about Marvel movies, right? The idea that like, how much is the director even like really in charge of whatever it is that they're doing? Compared to something like Star Wars, where you look at something like Ahsoka, and that's clearly Dave doing exactly what he wanted to do. And I mean,
Well,
in the
we
same
gotta.
sense, the Acolyte came across like that too. It didn't come
Yeah, that was
across
what
like
Leslie wanted.
a story that was hamstrung by executive notes, like notes from producers. And yet, meanwhile, The Rise of Skywalker was obviously a response to LJ, but a really stupid response. Yeah, more Star Destroyer for her. That'll fix it.
Well, I
That's
mean,
what you want.
the total creative control. I mean, we going further back. That's what kind of got us into this mess. Maybe not in the very first place. That was The Force Awakens. But like TLJ was that issue of, just do whatever, do it,
I
deconstruct
assume
Star Wars, be creative.
the people we're thinking about, take for example, if we said Tony Gilroy or Edgar Wright or even Mike Flanagan, or grabbing people like a Tarantino to do maybe an R-rated Star Wars film as a one-off. Just all this people, I assume they've worked in the industry long enough that you'd be like, listen, I want you to have creative control. However, there needs to be a system for if you do something that is just not possible for us. You
Yeah.
create some kind of system of reason. You wouldn't be like you. Of course, they've never had 100% creative control on anything. I'd imagine. There's always
No one
someone
has
saying
that
something.
much money at stake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very. I think even people who like 100% fund, you'd still have at least some voices here and there being like, you can't do that. Even down to like distribution or whatever, you're gonna have to make deals with people. But of course, there's more and less, and that you'd want to encourage more for the people you trust more creatively. But again, it'd be like you're gonna have to get involved, really keep track of everything, have probably like a whole team of continuity guys, and to really figure out what the
Absolutely,
fuck
an
is going
actual lore
on.
masters, a guild of lore masters. None of that TLJ bullshit, and none of these these actual traders that they hired for Rings of Power, but actual like lore masters who legitimately do care. I think one thing as well that would be important is um, being able to take small hits in terms of like current releases in order to build up franchise reputation. In a way, that's kind of what Andor is. Like, yeah, it's not doing well in terms of viewership,
I'd say we need some
but it has
penguins.
greatly increased. Yeah, we need some penguins and stuff to really build, maybe slow
Mhm.
burn kinds of stuff that even if it doesn't do amazing, like like fuck me, Andor's doing, but like I said, it builds up reputation over time because you don't want to just try to build flash in a pan constantly.
Hmm.
You don't want to have sugar rushes. You need a good filling meal in order to make a series last. Can't get spooked at the slightest little failure.
Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are good Souls-lights with actually good writing. Have people, like, anybody that we are familiar with praised those games for their great stories?
I don't know anything about the
Not that
story.
I'm aware of, no.
I feel like they've got a rep.
I never hear people talk about the story.
They've got a rep for
Ever.
being better than like Disney garbage, of course, but I don't know that, like, really though. Are you sure it's not just that it's like the kind of thing you're looking? How do I put this? Like a story that's just completely inoffensive and has enough of your standard sort of adventurous payoffs that, like, yeah, that's one that's. I feel like they'd probably
Well,
be
the kind of
considered.
story that you would recommend to anybody, even if they weren't a fan of Star Wars. You're like, nah, this is some real good shit, buddy. Like, it's really worth it that you should watch it or play it rather, and see the story play out. It's just a fan of stories in general. It feels like it needs to hit that threshold, which feels like when people talk about KOTOR, it has hit that threshold. People are just recommending it for its own sake, not just like, well, if you like Star Wars, you'll enjoy it. It's more of a level of no, for real. You should like it's worth checking out
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't
get
know.
what I mean.
I just
Yeah,
imagine they're very, very acceptable stories of just normal stuff happens. Like,
that's it. Just seems like those games in general, the viewers that they just pass in terms of being like, yeah, it's fine. It just doesn't seem like those games lingered much, um, in the zeitgeist. You know.
yeah, like I hear Star Wars fans enjoy them, but I don't really ever see them referenced for their storytelling in like a
Me neither.
Oh man, you got to check out that. Like, they never reference the good storytelling in a game way, as opposed to just a Star Wars content way, which unfortunately is not impressive, really. Like, because Star Wars is in such a bad way.
Yeah, when you tell me it's good by Star Wars standards, like that's not super meaningful.
Thoughts on Smiling Friends season 2?
It's great.
Oh, hey.
Very good. Very much enjoyed it. Easy recommendation. It's a season 2 that comes through and doesn't pee all over itself. We like. It's just that one came out like way earlier than the others as well, right?
Yeah, that was like April or something. Pretty early.
Any news on a third season?
I think it's renewed for a third season. It is renewed for a third season, right?
I meant more so
it's
just
not.
release date, but maybe I'm way too early on that.
I think we got no clue at the moment.
Made you look. I'm glad you're done ranting about a bad video game I'll never play. I'm here to listen to ranting about a bad TV show I'm never gonna watch. Well,
Aha!
at least you're honest about it. But hey, well, I mean, I'm not. I can't remember if Theo's at the point of calling Elden Ring just outright bad, but we got lots of criticism. Imagine thinking the Acolyte is deep. I guarantee the writers never went further than that would be cool when writing this garbage. I mean, they seem to have a few more goals than that, right? They seemed very listen to like that interview we covered was horrific. Yeah, and I can only imagine the more you hear them talk about the intentions of the Acolyte as a show, the more it'll become obvious that it's like a nightmare. Unfortunately. Pro tip: if the stream is under 5 hours, then you should have enough time to do super chats. Well, I mean,
Wow, interesting.
that is interesting.
We'll keep that. We'll keep that in mind, my dude. Thanks very much.
So we tend not to begin the stream by telling everybody exactly how much time the three of us may or may not have available. But you can, for the sake of entertainment, imagine that whenever there is a distinctive cutoff that's not surprising or sudden, that there is one. We just don't talk about it because you're just trying to like make a show, do the thing, waha, yay. And so I guess what I'm saying is like if ever it cuts off earlier than one would maybe prefer or imagine or expect, then it could be tied to something serious that other people have to get sorted. And sometimes we are overt about the fact that someone can't hang around too long. But then again, we've been doing this we're in the 7th year. I don't like doing streams that are longer than I was about to say fucking 9 hours, and I was like, can you be more reasonable for yourself? I'd be like, yeah, I don't like doing streams, honestly, that are longer than 3 hours, really. It's not like the preference. I can get into a thing and totally do it and enjoy it and stuff, but the older I get, the more I'm like, I would prefer that we can make something solid and you can perform and engage with something for a little shorter than an excessive, like, doing 11 hours all in a row and stuff is a nightmare.
How often do you television shows that are running that long live, right? Like a morning breakfast television show will run for 3 hours and they don't have to talk the whole time. They get breaks. They get commercial breaks and other segments.
I don't know when it was, but we decided a while back to stop doing Super Chats live because they were making the overflow.
It out so long. Yeah, because if it was happening live, it would just like balloon and then then you're there for 10
We'd
hours.
never catch up. Yeah, we would just never be able to catch up. And because we take the position that we want to read every super chat, we want to acknowledge them, it just would not become possible. And obviously, we'd make more like raw money if we did things differently, but then it would just pile up. We'd never catch up with all the super chats. So this way, even if it takes a little longer, at least currently, you can be assured that every single one will be read.
And it's the same amount of time being spent. We just split it into different days, and then we do additional recordings for other stuff. But it's all much more. It's like much more better planning in terms of time. It's a lot less unfettered to the point of it can, when it's like, oh, have you got this day free? It's like, yes, how many hours? It's like, oh, I don't know, between 4 and 12. It's like, well, that's not reasonable. It's barely reasonable to say between 2 and 5. Like we got to try and be more definitive. So when I feel like that's owed somewhat to everybody who's involved, and I mean that from anybody who's on the cast to people editing to people getting involved in any way, shape, or form. That it's much better when we have more definitive time scales for everything, and I prefer the mainline episodes to being shorter, but completely in terms of like what you get on the tin is what the episode is, and then the super chat catch-up coming with it, I think is a really good system. Obviously, we were annoyed that we'd fallen behind, but it wasn't for lack of doing work. We've been making all kinds of stuff, and you're going to see it all come out. It's it could be a little bit exciting, but we're catching up, and we will. And there's going to be a moment where I say, "And that's it. We're fully caught up," and the three of us are going to be very, very happy about it.
We can breathe a sigh of relief and know that it won't be that way forever. But thank goodness it's done for now.
Yeah, and as Rag said, it's like we just want to stick to making sure every question gets read out and given an answer it deserves. That's the number one thing, and it will happen. If it takes a long time, it's still gonna happen. Rewatching Arcane because of the EFAP highlight. Yeah, season 1.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent!
good stuff. Season 1.
The season 1 Arcane episodes show is great. Wonderful magic. It's yes.
Nice to give that
after the first
season a rewatch and not other. He sounds like a lame David Attenborough. Well, it's hard to compare to the King. Okay, most people can't.
No.
Hey guys, which character is more consistent, Kylo Ren or May? Also, hi Rags.
Hello.
Man, that's actually a tough one because they both flip flop and.
I'd say probably May.
Idiots.
Kylo is like the inconsistent character to me.
That's true. That's yeah.
He's such a funny little goober.
Kylo is he's like Elrond level from Rings of Power season 1, where like literally Elrond might actually be the king for inconsistency, where every scene he is just legitimately a different person. It's kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
Kylo is an excellent template if you're looking to write a terrible character, though, for inconsistency. But he fooled a lot of people. He's so complex. Oh, wow, so deep. Oh, so complicated.
They gotta hang on to something. What else are you gonna do? It's Rings of Power. Hey guys. Oh wait. SCP-2662. A Cthulhu man spawns rabid cults at random. His cell is surrounded by guards to keep cultists from breaking in and harassing him with their rituals, when all he wants to do is read newspaper and play video games. Okay.
That'd be interesting.
Kind of funny. He just spawns spawns the people, or turns people into
I would
cults?
Assume, without looking it up, I would assume that, or certainly I would write it to be some extra-dimensional, divine, omnipotent, whatever being, some super powerful, supernatural being, has this it's sort of its effect and its draw. It has this aura that people want to worship it and supplicate it and like adore it, and it doesn't want that, but that's what its effect kind of is, and it just sort of wants to be left alone.
Well, it says he
which is
spawns
interesting.
them.
What is it? SCP?
No, I mean the super chat said he's a man.
Yeah, what's the number?
2662.
Let me see. Cognitohazardous entity, 4 meters high, blah, blah, blah. A primary anomalous effect only occurs after long-term repeated exposure, usually by being in the same room or as interacting daily with it. Subjects exposed to it for a period of 6 months or longer at risk of becoming acutely aware of its wants or needs and are compelled to fulfill them. They may also suffer from quasi-psychotic episodes when under stress. It's able to affect humans that have a 2 or higher mind-affecting resistance scale score, blah, blah, blah. Secondary anomalous effect is the spontaneous generation of religious followings at an approximate rate of at least once per month. This generation is involuntary and causes the creature notable distress. Religious groups generated by the creature usually focus on attempting to break into its containment unit in order to perform various rituals that are violent and or sexual in nature. These groups tend to be highly organized and appear to adapt to each failed attempt, despite there being generally no contact between different generated religious followings. So I
Okay.
guess they have like incident logs and stuff for the story, but I do wonder if it spawn people out of thin air, or does it just generate the religious group, like existing
That's
people
what I said.
have the compulsion to form. Well, yeah, that's I know that's what you said, but I'm wondering if in the story it is because if it says it spontaneously generates the people, like I don't know if they mean like the cult, like as an organization is spawned, or like individually those people are spawned in as a part of the religious group. But either way,
What a fun
interesting
mystery.
idea.
This show is for 12-year-olds. Also, the show is deep because I said so. This show saved my life. Yeah, it's usually that. Funny though, because Skeleton Crew is the actual show for like children, and looks like everyone didn't go. Like, how do they reconcile it? Remember all the crazy stuff about protect the children? They're gonna get attacked. The evil, outright. Angry.
and then nobody was paying attention really at all. Like nobody.
Well, and I wonder what the narrative is for that. It's like, oh they knew not to attack this one because that, you know what I mean? Like what is it going to be? Because we and many other people are supposed to just be evil to the point of we'll use anything and everything to sensationalize and destroy Star Wars. That's our whole grift. How does this one get reconciled?
How is it reconciled that everybody just sort of allowed it to exist?
And if anything, like me and Drink our brief coverage of it has just been, it's fine, and your kids might like it.
It's almost as if the Acolyte was noteworthy.
Exactly. It's almost like the reason
strange way, yeah,
just that we hate everything. It was something more than that. Crazy. But yeah, I do like the whole. It's meant for kids. Also, it saved my life. Like, okay, that's not an impossibility. But the notion when they say it is supposed to be, why are you taking this seriously? It's meant for people who aren't you, while simultaneously saying it's the most important thing in terms of media and their whole existence. Interesting how that happens. I think Sol is a Sith master, and Smilo is his son and rival Sith. One secretive, one aggressive. Remember rival houses on the whiteboard? Well, nope.
No, that's not what it was.
It was a lot stupider than that. Got a little animated Shiba dog shaking from left to right, surrounded by little hearts. Nice.
Oh, nice.
I get more out of Bluey than most D+ shows. I think I said that I saw one episode of it with my sister's kid was watching it, and I was with her just tolerating such lowbrow content. But at the same time, if I was on my phone or whatever and I was just listening to the episode and I was like, they've just got like this broad episode about the nature of punctuality and its importance and the effects it can have, negative, positively, and I'm just like, this is just good stuff for kids.
It's just like, oh, how do we teach kids a lesson? Yeah. Well, we need a story to help illustrate why that lesson might be important. Because you're literally trying to convince children to behave a certain way by instilling in them like basic values.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's written really, really badly, then maybe the message won't catch on.
We talked about it before, that in a sense, the straightforward narrative objectives of a lot of films and TV shows that are geared towards children, because they're trying to instill straightforward, simple lessons in a way that's easy to understand, that clarity kind of manifests in better writing. That's something that can lead writers astray as when too tangled up in a whole bunch of sort of different and potentially conflicting themes and concepts that they can't even nail it. Yeah. Where they would have been better, they just picked one idea and really honed in on it. Because basically, like, there's more to be said for every Golden Age Pixar film, but like, they have one core concept, like one binding theme that is what everything is ultimately about, you know? I mean, Ratatouille, anyone can cook. Extrapolate it out to a variety of different endeavors and pursuits that people have. Like, that would be sort of a clear example of like how core it is. Not that it is about. There's more to it, but like, that's what it's about, and it's executed really well compared to, oh well, you know, this is a film. Your failure is the greatest teacher, but also We're
But also, fuck
deconstructing the
you.
myth of, like the hero's journey, and also
Well,
we're dealing with
Also, Luke
maybe
is a loser, and you suck for
both
liking
sides are
him.
morally
Yeah.
grey. Maybe it's not so clear cut as rebellion good and empire bad, and all these stupid things.
the way I would see it is it's like low stakes themes, right? Of the problem with like we have an episode called Lazy Bones, and there's a kid who's too lazy and he misses out on a real fun trip that the other friends go on, and then he's so lazy that he, I don't know, fucking doesn't do some work where others do, and they feel super fulfilled, and he's got nothing to show for himself. It's like, there you go, don't be lazy. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
nice. Meanwhile, it's like,
having
yeah,
my-
what is personhood? It's like, okay, well, that's where we'll have to start,
My assumption is that Bluey has to be good in a sense because of its success, and someone would be like, "Well, what? You wouldn't hold that from many things." It's like, I don't know, man. This kids show from Australia ended up being massively successful worldwide to where
Everyone knows about
adults
Bluey.
express that they enjoy it.
Yeah, but they're
I mean,
autistic.
well, no, I mean, what?
It's a harmful opinions thing. Carry on.
It's just that because I remember I just started seeing it pop up more and more. It's just a thing, and then even
Yeah.
people saying
It's everywhere
kids
here.
saying "Oh, well, I enjoy it too." My kid likes it, but I like it as well. And when you hear stuff like that, you just think, "Oh, there must be something to this then that's actually really worthwhile as a project."
It's no Phineas and Ferb, but it's all right.
Well, I guess the thing is that this is it's a preschool show, right? So it's more
Yeah.
so in the realm of Sesame Street and Barney, rather than the stuff you'd be thinking about on Cartoon Network. But it's kind of remarkable how successful it is, given that it's Australian and I don't know that it could be said we have that many super successful exports in terms of media, like Crocodile Dundee, Crocodile Hunter. um,
Wallaby jelly.
It was about crocodiles that it did pretty well as a thing that people pay attention to. I mean, it's I've not seen a single episode though. Interestingly enough, of
You need
that
to
show.
partake in your nation's pastime of Bluey.
It almost feels like it would be worth just knowing what it is, because all I know is what I've heard. And that's it. It's really good, and it will surprise you, and people like the dad. That's basically all I know about Bluey.
Hail Gary, hail Platoon, hail the 199. Mauler, I've been recently watching EFAP and loving it. Wish you all continued success and good health for you and your families. That's nice.
Thanks very much.
Hope you enjoy the show. I was still a kid when I realized things made for kids were usually stupid. It has disgusted me ever since. I mean, even as a kid, I had, and I think everyone does, sort of have a bit of a taste. You don't just watch anything. Still have a bit of a
I think it's the realization after the fact is, no, I should give my younger self more credit for the things that I expressed interest in when it came to films and TV shows, because a lot of them have held up really well. A lot of them have, the Disney, Pixar, Cartoon Network, the old Cartoon Network show, The Simpsons, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know, kids are receptive to good storytelling as well, and it's silly to pretend that that's not the case.
And yes, it feels like it's all these reviewers saying it's meant for kids. Why the fuck do you care if it's good or bad or stuff? That'll be reflective eventually if you keep saying it in the creatives, who'll be like, we don't need to make it good. It's for kids, whatever. And you don't want that.
Give your kids slop content.
I see where Theo's complaints about SOTE are coming from, even if I fundamentally disagree with them. Play the Oath in Felghana as a palate cleanser. Alright. The thing about the it's for kids argument that irks me is how it implies kids are brain dead with media perception. I could tell when something sucked when I was a kid, even if I couldn't put the why into words. Well, there's that, but there's also, kids are arguably, we talked about this before, the most important demographic for crafting the content very specifically.
Yeah.
Because where adults can see an idea or a message or a point of view or whatever and be like, nah, I don't agree with that. Kids don't have that benefit sometimes, as in they'll be like, well, that's what happened in that story, so that must be how that goes, what that sort of thing is, and I will take that to be the truth now. Like, you gotta be careful. You don't want to instill bad values.
When a lot of what you've been pointing to is great for instilling really important fundamental values. That's like the goal of a lot of these stories is to really, it's
Really
not
basal stuff.
necessarily the intention for a whole bunch of films. A whole bunch of films aren't necessarily to instill fundamental like life lessons. They want to explore other aspects of life. Certainly, it's a unifying element of a lot of the great great movies and television shows that are oriented towards children is that they are trying to instill, values about being kind and
learning to
considerate
share
and exactly, these sorts
stuff
of
like
things.
that. Don't be mean.
Yeah.
Shut the door when you poop.
Yeah. You all don't deserve the little platoon. Mauler especially, lol. Infinitely higher quality reviewer of higher integrity, knowledge, and eloquence. Alright.
Yeah, Mauler.
I mean, that's pretty bitchin' review of Little Platoon. Check out the channel. It's fine with me.
What a loser.
When they say you don't deserve Little Platoon, maybe they mean the whole world, not just me, but who knows?
It sounded like they were singling out you specifically.
Yeah, Fringy and I, we deserve him. So if he ever wants to hang out with us, come to our birthday party, he'll be there.
There wasn't enough EFAPing in my day, so I started from 1. Well-written rat. Payoffs I've witnessed are being set up. Rags' character development is A+. About that.
Interesting.
You can track a lot of the arcs early on. They're quite exciting. Little breadcrumbs, and then how it develops into the big...
The origins of the memes.
Dude, the boogie one, the setup goes so far back. Just little references here and there. Me and Fringy being historians to an extent. Until you get the explosion that comes way later. Really, that was some great writing by the writers, of course. You don't pay them enough.
We get good writers.
Acolyte is shit. Anyway, seeing the backstory of the name EFAP was like watching Fellowship for the first time. It was beautiful. Wipes away a tear. Well, yeah, we had a couple of ideas, and the chat. I think you can find the top comment on the episode. It's like episode 3 or 4 or something. Someone says, "Hey, maybe you should call it Every Frame of Pause."
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Crazy. Imagine thinking anything of substance happened in the Acolyte. I mean, we try to be fair with everything we cover, and it's like, what was there in the Acolyte that was worthwhile? It was 1 or 2 scenes from Soul that were like, oh look, that's acting.
More like some moments, not scenes. Like moments in scenes.
No, I'd give him a full scene. The one where he's in the ship. That's just a full scene.
Yeah, that counts.
All right.
Wade from Obi-Wan had more character development than those action figures in the Acolyte. I mean, I loved Wade. He was great. That was kind of the big highlight of the season, I would say.
Yeah.
And you really don't see it coming. Like, it's. I was about to say it's not set up, but it is. It's just not set up conventionally. They really get you to care about, a character that at first might have seemed like a completely characterless person. Then you find out his name is Wade. And
he got a name.
Yeah, and then he dies, and you're like, oh my god.
And if he had a name, he must have had
family,
friends
probably.
and family, and he fought for a cause. So he must have had ideals that he really believed in. It was wow.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they'd made the decision to where you can block with a lightsaber the massive blasts coming out of a snowspeeder.
She does it several times, right?
That's insane. She just casually blocks these. Like what if an X-wing shoots it? Can you block an X-wing? What about a photon torpedo? Or a proton torpedo?
Like if the Death Star laser engulfs you, but you hold up the lightsaber and it just bounces off. Like, oh, okay.
And it bounces back to the Death Star like it's lightning. Can't believe everyone's like, yeah, you can just block it.
That would have happened in JJ's next film if he got to make one.
Probably.
Can we just talk about Lord of the Rings again instead? I think if you've learned anything about EFAP, it's that we come back to Lord of the Rings all the time. We always come back.
It's our therapy media that we have
is.
to go to every once in
I've
a
just
while.
gradually gotten more and more comfortable with calling it a masterpiece, you know? It's like, those fucking movies, dude, they're so good. Never thought I'd say this, but Theo is right. Never thought you'd say it. Theo's right about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Theo's got some ideas.
Got lots of ideas. Hello all, and thank you all for the faps throughout the years. Question for everyone. During the recording of which EFAP episode did you have the most laugh-out-loud, stomach-hurting moments?
Oh, the Gollum stream comes to mind.
Yeah, that
Going
one.
over the Gollum clips. That one hurt my face a lot.
Obviously, I can't deny the
I mean, there's some
Isle of Man flag event.
Isle of Man was a big one. Some of the meme faps, the Ocean Man is something I'll always remember, as well as, I mean, Balls Above Wang. That one hurt me. That one hurt me. That hurt me bad. All right.
You know, it was lots of fun to be had with the boogie arc, as much as maybe not stomach hurting laughing, but like, you know, you've probably seen it, person who sent the super chat, I'd imagine. So yeah, you know, lots of bigger ones. But what if we weren't allowed to choose any that are live?
None that were live.
What would be the
Balls Above Wang was in a super chat catch-up.
Well, I was about to say that we wouldn't even be able to reference some of the ones that might be in contention because they're not out yet.
Oh, that might be true. That's true.
That's just foreshadowing for you right there. Beautiful. They don't watch you guys' videos. They look at the thumbnails or go off Twitter, rep, call you ists and isms, and they have many of the same criticisms. There was a post very recently on the old Twitter of a person, I think it was with a Gary thumbnail, and they said they complain that we don't watch their videos and that we only look at their thumbnails and ignore them. But when you have thumbnails like this, you don't deserve to have your videos watched or something like that. And I was just like, nice. So,
all right,
like you just
that didn't really move the conversation forward at all.
Not even slightly.
Input,
I was like, why? What do you think the response would be to that? Like, you got me. It's just
all right.
You don't even need to make a counter. The first argument still holds. So good job, Gary. You beat them without even saying anything. Australian nightmare of the day: the pelican spider. Have you heard of this one, Frankie?
I have not. No.
The fuck?
What is
this is actually one I don't think I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen that as well.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I didn't know.
I can see how it gets its name. That's kind of wild.
You almost look at it and wonder, like it can only be creepy how this thing moves.
Yeah, I imagine that animated, it's even worse.
Man.
That's a terror creature. It's not even real. This is a computer-generated image. It's not even a real creature. It's a demon from someone's mind.
I'm just looking at a video and not helping. Like, in terms of the fear factor.
Oh my god, look at it.
Yeah.
Pelican spiders, ancient assassins that eat their own kind. That's like all spiders, though.
Yeah.
When I want to open it in Discord, I get 2 ads.
Well, when you get more and more as time goes on. This fella. I just want to look at him walking around. Remarkably, he's very spider-like. Wouldn't have thought.
The pelican spider?
No, I guess
is
not.
he very? But he's not. Is he very pelican-like? Do you think, or is he more spider-like than pelican-like?
It is kind of funny to hear the name of a creature, to look at it and go, yeah, that's about right.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I feel like I should have heard of this before. Have you seen at the 1 minute mark? It shows how it like hunts. It like clamps him down with a huge pelican beak thing, and then does the rest of the job. It's just like, why have I not known about this? What a creature! Thanks, Australia.
Damn, nature.
Another banger.
Scary.
Another banger.
Pelican spiders and Bluey.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other. I saw Angry Joe do the same thing recently with episode 3. Quote, unlike those other critics, I actually have problems with the writing and characters. Okay.
Because we never talked about the writing and character. That's okay. Gotcha.
It's always so
All
funny,
right?
right? Because it'd be like, what do you mean? They have actual criticisms. It's like, well, I'm not going to watch the videos. You see the
That's what
thumbnails?
we talk about. Fucking nonstop is the writing and the characters. Nonstop is what we talk about.
Rags, which do you think is the best rifle on the market, and why is it the SIG 550/553? Guess where I'm from.
You're probably from, you're probably Swiss. But the best rifle on the market is the Ruger 1022. That's the best rifle on the market. It's a small. Let me get you a picture. Do images. Click. Here's a picture. Beautiful, magical. Copy image. Paste to Rooney. It's the best rifle on the market. It's Ruger 1022. It's a little 22 LR caliber, semi-automatic carbine. It has a variety of attachments you can get for it. Simple, lightweight, not complicated. I've got 2 of them. I love them. It's the best rifle on the market. If people ask me what should my first gun be, this will typically be the gun that I say this should be your first gun. The ammo is very cheap. There's a lot of stuff you could do to this rifle if you want to make it better over time. It's just a simple little pew 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 gun for for having fun and enjoying yourself and getting people into shooting. It's a rifle, so or at least it's rifle length, so you can actually hit things at a distance if you don't have a lot of training with it. Really, not a very loud, virtually no recoil. It's just a wonderful, approachable, excellent little carbine.
Also, Frongo, I pledge myself to you and your goo. All right.
Well, you don't need to be doing that.
You
okay?
and your goo.
And as for Mauler, I hope Wales get their independence soon. Denju Best Girl? Is this an anime? Probably an anime. What? That's great. And Heil Metal. There you go. We all got something rather nice. Why, thank you. Has anyone used the boom vine fart sounds on episode 4's big force pushback? That would be a good meme. Someone's probably. Remember Vine?
I do remember
yeah, that was
Vine.
the thing. Yeah,
Proto
that was like
TikTok,
10 years ago at this point. Yeah.
They can travel a galaxy. He can literally never run into a Jedi. Oh, that's the thing. You got Jude Law's character is a Force user who gets a lightsaber in the new Skeleton Crew stuff, by the way.
Great. Of
He's
course.
not a Jedi, though.
Okay.
it's just, yeah.
All right.
It's funny because I just saw like promotional material being like, check out Skeleton Crew, and it shows Jude Law with the lightsaber on and having his hand up, and I'm just like, you guys can't not do it, I guess.
I don't care. I never want to see another lightsaber again.
I think we might be out of luck on that one.
Yeah.
Edgy the Hedgy walks on screen and cocks lightsaber. That would be cool. Can't deny it. Saccharin, just in quotations. Must have been someone looking for that word, maybe.
Oh.
The positive equivalent would be obsession or infatuation. I must have been asking for the positive antonym, or it must have just been a question, an antonym of a word. Literally changed law on Wikipedia. He's wrong. So, yes, this will be regarding the Kiadi Mundi stuff. I'd imagine that Star Wars Theory. I say court, but I mean I wouldn't have to have said court if not for the fact that it was denied in future. That they changed the Wikipedia live as the episode was coming out. So you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it wasn't shit. It's like literally was, but like, okay, why are you fighting on this?
Holy
just let
shit.
it go. The witches / Sith. Go ahead.
Like, remember, we're losers for caring, but their defense of it was so strong and ardent that it makes you wonder.
Well, it's the classic. It's not happening, but if it is happening, it's okay that it's happening.
Yeah, and
It's
you
like,
shouldn't even
what?
care about it. Caring about it's bad.
Yeah.
But it's good that it happened and it's right.
Theo, everyone knows wrestling is fake. Me, you take that back, mister. The witches and Sith seem persecuted by the Jedi, and the show has done a great job justifying their persecution by their actions. Where's the Jedi critique? Agreed. Still waiting
kind
for
of. They're a creepy, evil witch cult, who are clearly aggressive.
I got my criticisms of the Jedi, but I mean, the witch cult are pretty fucking bad. I'm going to echo what DB said, a little louder and in green. He looks like the kind of guy who needs to have his hard drive searched. Talking about Smilo or
illegally
Soul.
downloaded shows?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't have any of those.
Yeah, Master Soul, don't be doing that. Gosh. For your information, this channel was at one point making 30k per month on Patreon for making zero-effort reactions to Dragon Ball Z Abridged and Atla. They love everything and profit greatly from that. Well, I mean, yeah, we're all... As much as I don't even disagree at the notion that there's money to be made at hating everything, as long as you agree that the same goes for loving everything as well. It's just... There's audiences for everything. So yeah, there's a lot of channels who don't even understand the concept of... They'll use, like, they'll have the benefit of we're the good ones, though. We're the happy ones. Kind of the cinema wins sins dynamic. Like, yeah. I'm the happy one, though. I'm adding to the world, you're taking away. And it's like...
Yeah, sadness is bad. Happiness, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Someone needs to sit this idiot down and force him to read Seamus Young's articles about plot holes and story collapse. Play Trails in the Sky.
Yeah, I've been told the plot holes don't really matter, so...
All bullshit, man. Everyone does care about those things.
We see it all the time.
My favorite description of anger comes from a sci-fi story, Dimension W. Quote, "We possess anger in order to reject sadness." Definitely stuff to think about with that.
Yeah, it makes you think a little.
Deeper than anything in the Acolyte.
Sure. My Blind Wave are React YouTubers. They do watch a lot. The problem is they like everything they watch. Well, I mean, this is the thing. We've gone over it with Cinema Wins a few times, but like, it's not even that we consider it meaningless. It's that it makes your commentary meaningless if you're only looking for positives and you have no system at play. Like, look what happens to Cinema Wins when he doesn't have anything to say.
Like, yeah, just a collapse.
Yeah.
A total collapse.
That's actually the nice way of putting it. Like, at worst, you'll start to just take points from other people's videos, which was so fucking blatant with Last Wish. Because he just didn't care about it, which is fine. You don't have to care about everything.
But you don't have to go and make videos positively speaking about films that you don't have that much.
Well, there's a little thing called audience capture where everyone would have been asking him over and over again in the comment sections, why haven't you done Last Wish? Why haven't you done the Last? And he's like, fine, I'll do the Last Wish. Yeah, it's good because, I don't know, death's in the background at this point.
All these things that I clearly, obviously Googled.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It went from broad, random comment that barely applies to very specific hyper detail. And it's just like, what are you doing?
You Googled that. We know. We know.
Which is fine, by the way. It would be nice if it didn't reveal immediately that you don't give a shit.
There was no insides the fun facts that other people had identified.
Well, you hope that when, say, for example, someone adores the film and then they go looking at someone else's understanding and they go, oh my god, he was in the background at that point, that's amazing, and that, blah, 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 you know, instead of, yeah, I'll put that in. Okay.
Here's this thing everybody already knows, because it's been spread like wildfire all over the place.
The only appropriate follow-up to, quote, two Sojaks shill for the Smackalite would be Ultimate Showdown Waifu Edition featuring E::R. Where my gags at? I doubt we're going to do a waifu edition of that. But I can understand the need for it for a lot of people. I'm sure there are people who've done that, though.
Absolutely.
Tournament of waifus, yeah. Impeach the Acolyte. Andor 2024. Make Star Wars great again. Also, hi, Rags.
Hello.
Andor 2025. Yeah, that's going to be stressful when that finally comes out.
Yeah, it is.
Like, please, 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 please. Crooked Joe, he loves TLJ, you know. The worst one. I said, how can that be? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. He's crazy, you know, because everyone knows the best one's number 2. That one, and we love it. Of course. Empire's brilliant. Never forget. A shilling for the Acolyte anti-shilling meter. Why, thank you. Where is the EFAP wiki Autismo? I don't know.
Autismo? Autismo? Is that supposed to be?
I don't think so. But maybe. Thing is, I wouldn't know what to say if it was either of them, but I'm just going to put a thumb up. Yes. Just watched the Acolyte episode 5 EFAP TV. That's supposed to be their equivalent to Arcane episode 3, where almost everyone dies. The quality difference is pathetic. Yeah, the season 1 Arcane, for sure, 100%. I agree. You know, just different design philosophies, goals. The Acolyte will be remembered forever as you know, just short of greatness, I'm sure. Starving kids in Africa hate the Wikipedia changes. Oh, was that this episode where we discovered that take from Red Letter Media? I hope not.
Could have been.
Oh, that was bad. Warhammer model of the whenever Azek Ariman of the Thousand Suns. Oh, I guess they want us to check him out. One moment.
All right, but if this is like just a bunch of all the other Warhammer stuff, or they just write, look, he did this really amazing thing, and then 1 billion people died. Isn't that amazing and cool?
I think
It's
they
not
just want us
actually going to be that impressive.
to see his look rather than. Oh, is that not showing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can take a look. If it'll open it up here. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I like the light blue and the red kind of combination there with the white stuff. I like it. I think it's neat. Not
Yeah, like
really a fan of the helmet, but the rest of it I really like.
that'll have to do. I was just trying to get like an actual present. But yeah, he probably has killed thousands.
He probably has killed billions of people. He's very, very cool.
Design for sure. I kind of like it.
I like it. I like the colors a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The red, white, and light blue, and the gold bits. I think it's really neat. I like that scheme.
He's a potent psychic, iconic chief librarian, 15th Legion in the days of the Horus Heresy. Good for him. I hope he makes it.
I hope so too.
Also,
I hope he finds
howdy.
himself a lady librarian, and they have librarian family, and
Yeah.
they do all this stuff.
Also, hey, howdy ho, Rigidius, Fringolium, and Molidums. Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
Hope yous as well. I hope yous as well, too. Many Bothans died to get these plans. Mon Mothma, Rogue One, no Bothan at all.
We haven't found them yet.
Bothans were not for those plans, were they? I thought the Bothans were for the second Death Star plans. Am I mixing those up?
I can't
Wait,
remember.
say that again?
When she says many Bothans died to get these plans, I thought she was talking about the second Death Star, not the first one.
I thought that was the second.
Any important information about the Death Star? Well, you know what would be a way to do this? Script: Return of the Jedi. I feel like I'm either gaslighting myself one way or the other right now. Bothans. The data brought to us by the Bothan spies pinpoints the exact location, and many died to bring us this information. Yeah, that line's from Return of the Jedi.
And it doesn't necessarily say that the Bothan spies are the ones who died.
And yeah, this person's saying like they forgot to put Bothans into Rogue One, but that's not the same, you know, operation. But hey, maybe there was a Bothan, you know, in one of those X-Wings that came in to help him, and he had a family. Who knows? You should cover Shredded Nerd's video on millennial writing. Would like your thoughts on it. I wonder what the general thought is. Most people just have nothing good to say about modern writing, any given like an era class or anything. But maybe like you don't see people saying like Gen X writing is so awesome. Like there's no amount like nobody does that with any of them. They always just say they shit for all of them. But hey, you know, I wonder what counts as millennials. Is it everything we're getting now? I'm guessing.
I suppose so now, because at this point, if you're like X, you're in your 40s, like your late 40s, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's still be plenty of stuff that you can blame on them. Don't let them slink away, being like, "Oh, what
Yeah,
generation for which there's nothing to blame." Uh-huh.
So don't you worry, multi-generational bad writing, you know?
Exactly.
We've passed this terrible writing down for generations. Keep the tradition alive.
The tracker. Master has given Beaver a sock. Oh yeah, because you have to give...
Beaver?
What's his name? Why am I... I'm almost happy that I've forgotten it, but also annoyed. What's the stupid creature's name? In Acolyte, little guy who runs around, who knows the secret.
Mog?
Basil.
Oh,
Basil,
not Mog, Basil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
We love Mog. Why would you say that?
Mog. Basil.
Team Mog.
That little fucking asshole who sabotages shit for no reason.
Well, and also knows the
prick.
truth. That he could reveal to everybody, but I guess we'll never get to find out that story. How unfortunate.
Maybe he'll do it later. Yeah.
There was a debate over whether or not to accept and train Anakin. Not sure what this was contradicting or adding to, but I agree. If you argue proper editing, dialogue, plot, continuity don't matter, you also have to believe the inverse, that having good editing, dialogue, plot, continuity doesn't make a show or movie inherently better. This is what I mean about, like, we've said this since the beginning, I think. Find anyone's compliments to the writing of anything and challenge them to not connect something to something else. Like, can you actually compliment the way a story is written without relying on having built something? You say something and then another thing and then another thing, and that the things being connected is precisely how they become meaningful. It's pretty hard because nobody fucking says, "Oh man, I love Aragorn," and you're like, "Oh, why?" I love Aragorn. Okay, well, yeah, there you go.
Exactly. They gotta
Good job.
be appealing to something.
It's useless. Like, you wouldn't say like Lord of the Rings is really good because battles. Like, well, what about the battles? And you're like,
I fucking would. Battles are awesome.
Well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's where it all starts. But for any kind of meaningful conversation, we need you to go a little further. Why is Helm's Deep one of the greatest, if not the greatest fight in all of film history? It's like, well, there's a lot of things to say about that. EU isn't canon, but the only ideas they have... Well, yeah, I do feel bad for all the fans of the EU that have to watch it all get decanonized definitively, and then random shit gets pulled out of it and ruined, like redone horribly. That's gotta be fun. Regarding spongy bosses, I can't really say I had the same experience. I played the level 100 character and never had the feeling I did not much damage. For the DLC, I'd have to remember the leveling, how it works for Elden Ring, but I assume...
Level 100 sounds like a lot.
Well, it's different for each of the games, right? Like, I think me and Mel reached like level 200 by the end of DS2's the playthrough in that. So
Dang.
I can't remember all of the game's level differences, but obviously when they make a DLC, they expect that they're making it for late game people. Which is kind of normal for all games, I guess.
Yeah.
Regarding... Oh, I already asked Critical Drinker again and again to watch The Man from Earth. Please, it's free on YouTube and it's freaking awesome. Best sci-fi you've seen, and it's just people talking in a single room. Well, perhaps he and others shall get to it eventually.
So it's not even a lightsaber?
They didn't mention anything about a lightsaber, no.
Well, then, why would I bother if there's not even a lightsaber?
Maybe we could edit one in.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Put up a YouTube
Now
video by the side of it. Let's go and vroom, vroom, vroom.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Lightsaber ASMR.
Thoughts on upcoming Forever Winter game? World War hellscape with huge battles, but you're just a scavenger, sneaking past fights, picking for scraps. Sounds interesting.
It's a neat concept.
I don't think I've
I
ever
like that
heard of it,
idea.
though.
I haven't
Forever
either.
Winter. Oh. Might check out trailers, see what... I like unconventional ideas for all kinds of stuff.
Me too.
They've officially given up on them. Well, that could apply to a lot of things. I think it's about Red Letter Media. Mike still feeling guilty over causing all of this by making it so trendy to over-the-top hate the prequels. If ever there was a way to connect things without truly knowing how much any connection actually exists, you do wonder about Red Letter Media's influence on the sequels having been made the way that they are. The big factors being that his recommendation was wipe out politics from this space war, which was always a bad idea, no offense, because I like a lot of what Red Letter Media have to say. It's just, I'm more than happy to entertain that the prequels did politics boring. That's fine as a perspective. But the idea that as a result we get rid of politics is insane. That was a bad idea. Second bad idea, of course, was stapling J.J. Abrams to it as a recommendation for a director, which I think anyone can make that mistake. If you go back in time, J.J. Abrams' reputation was much better.
It was a lot better. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if only you saw the warning signs.
Yeah, and then sort of like general advice to just go back to your roots and tell the story that people actually want, which you could say is the Frankenstein ugly ass horrifying result is you get A New Hope again, but Force Awakens. So it's like, are they to blame for that? And he did apologize, which I find very funny, but you could never know. You can't know if that conversation was ever had, that if fucking people at Disney watched those videos and were like, this is what the fans want, we gotta do this. But I guess it doesn't matter now. It's been destroyed well beyond... Like, TFA is far from the only thing that did incredible damage to Star Wars, and they keep doing it to this day. It's not like they've learned anything. If anything, they've gotten worse. Because, hey, people liked TFA back in the day.
They sure did. I was one of them. That was a long time ago. I was a different dog.
This chat is like 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. You basically have a problem with 4 or 5 of their videos in RLM and now shills that fell off, working for Disney, woke, and the downfall of the West. Well, I'm pretty sure our take was just that we disagreed with them on this one.
Yeah.
If there are people in chat who feel that way, maybe this because of other stuff. We're not them, they're not us, but you get the full mix in chat, and they can be hyperbolic. I don't disagree with that. Kind of the same for all chats. But I feel like we were very clear every time we covered Red Letter Media that I still watch them, and I still like a lot of what they have to say. I still find them very entertaining. I just, their Star Wars coverage has been increasingly frustrating to watch.
Yeah, we covered their Kenobi stuff, and it was maddening.
It's,
You're like, who are you people?
Yeah, which is weird to say. I'm inclined to say they don't care about it, and it's like, well, but wait, they definitely care about Star Wars, right? And you're like, I just, not anymore. And there's a weird, like, I can't deny it. There's a weird prequel hatred thing that keeps coming back. Like where the Kenobi coverage, the one I'll never forget is Jay saying that Kenobi's good compared to the prequels because at least it gives Obi-Wan an arc. It was like, what the fuck? Like, why would you? What are we?
What a
I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, it is so unnecessary, It's just like what they got a bit of an anger toward that sort of stuff. They follow with saying maybe that's why YMS burned bridges. If there's no one's going to be able to claim their audience doesn't have hyperbolic reactions to any given creator, and I find it extremely ironic that you'd cite our chat's reaction to us covering Red Letter Media as why YMS might find us too maybe like spicy to deal with chat-wise, when part of the inception of talking to him about Critical Drinker was that just go check out his chat's opinions on what they think about Drinker when he was covering him. Or hell, check out what they say about us. Which to me was always something of an expected thing. the audiences can be a little hyperbolic. Like I said, I find that totally fine. Ultimately, it's a constant. I've seen plenty of creators try to solve that problem, to no avail. Like outright banning any kind of hyperbolic sentencing, or trying to constantly control any given thought in any given direction, and banning discussion on particular topics for a certain amount of time in order to make it calm down before it becomes narrativized, if you will. But I mean, ultimately, to me, it's as long as you're not breaking TOS, express yourself. And chats and communities and stuff, they do sway. Inevitable. Theo, when the magical enemy does a big magical attack, what a fucker using its magic. Gosh darn.
I think there might have been more to it than that.
Probably, yeah. You know what? Theo would agree with that. That is his take on magical stuff with magical enemies.
I'm sure his issue is that the magical character used magic. I'm sure that was the problem. He should use a fucking spear, like a good, honest fighter.
What about a magical spear?
Oh no!
Like in Wakanda.
Oh, Wakanda
God,
forever.
still hate it. I really do. It's just so stupid. They are in Africa.
Why do they think black people are stupid?
Hyper advanced.
It's really weird that they have that position.
So they have to have spears, but don't you fret. They're spears that beat out any rifle you could think of in the modern Western world. And it's like, no, they don't.
Okay, that's
fucking stupid. I hate it though. It's such insane nonsense design.
Condescending, it really is.
Why would they have fucking spears?
They're black Africans. They have to have spears. And I'm like, holy shit! What? My god! Do you know what people call us for not liking a Star Wars movie? And look what you get to do.
They shoot blasts of light, so they have to just think about aiming a spear like a rifle.
Yeah, like what? There's no sights.
Why the fuck? Why the fuck?
You just gotta eyeball it,
But remember, Killmonger's like, oh, it'd stop a tank though. It's like, well,
that's not.
That doesn't really.
Do you want to check out my club? It's a magical club that can stop a tank. You're like, that's great, man.
What power source is in that spear to generate enough force for something to destroy a tank? Like, I just don't believe. Like, it is unbelievable.
Well,
you would have to say it's magic.
Yeah, pretty much magic.
Well, and that's the thing.
You have to say it's magic.
Material-wise, if you've reached that with your spears, then what have you got as rifles? It's like, we don't do rifles. You're like, okay.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
But we have we have combat to the death to choose our dictator.
Don't get
I
me
remember.
started
I'm pretty sure
movie.
the spear charges, which is a bit of a problem because bullets, when you pull the trigger, the bullet just comes out straight away.
Yeah, what a crazy idea! Why would you want that,
dude? It's so. That was the beginning of nanotech ruining everything. Was Black Panther, because he had. Like, his suit was awesome in Civil War. It was so cool, and it was nice.
He was a cool character in Civil War.
Yeah, he was, and it was cool that it was a real helmet and mask was, physical, and you could take it off. But with that one, that was the beginning of nanotech. It's been worse ever since, and they're never going to stop. I don't think they will, even though at this point it's a pretty common complaint. It doesn't seem like, because even the Captain nanotech helmet.
Yep.
I think what annoys me so much is the lack of effort, like the effort that went into, iron plate popping off, and that, when they're shooting that he's wearing like a real helmet. The suit isn't real, but like the helmet's there to try and integrate it. Or like, well, how would it work? How does this suit work that you can see his face? And they just give up. It's just like, okay, there you go. Yep. All right, there it is.
Really good noise.
It's just like 3 seconds. It's so quick and like.
Want to have so many different origins for all these suits around the world, technological limits, whether it's like magic or technology, whatever have you, from different places. All of them apparently run with nanotech now, and it's just like, okay.
Dude, and even when there was stuff that was high tech, like Spider-Man's suit, like that was like a big baggy suit, like there was a suit that he had to actually put on. He couldn't just get a little like ice hockey puck, and it's like, oh yeah, and then that just like suit on you. How does that work? How do you just get a little ice hockey puck and it puts a suit on you? That's stupid.
It's very dense. It's very
And then
dense.
someone will be like, "Oh, you think that's dumb, but you think someone shrinking and growing isn't?" It's like, yeah, I do. I think it's better than he's shrinking and growing. I think I could buy that more. There's a suit where you just put it on, and in literally a split second, it like perfectly fits and covers everything, even your feet, which are on the ground. How's that? What if you've gained weight?
Oh well.
Nanotech, it just gets a little less. It just stretches out more. There's more space between the individual nanobots.
Black Panther and Infinity War, unfortunately, and it is one of the weakest suit ups. It's not as bad as the Endgame one, but it's definitely one of the weakest, and it's played very dramatically, but it's nowhere near as cool as the suitcase in Iron Man 2.
When Tony Stark walks out of the suit unceremoniously in Homecoming, that is cooler than his suit ups to that precedes that.
It's cool. It's the nanotech is lame. It's lame and it's cringe, and I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Have you been pretending it's not?
No, I haven't. I've been bitching about it since for years at this point.
I'm tired of pretending I'm pretending it's not.
I think I just hate it represents because to me it like nanotech helmets fly in the face of the very deliberate design of these characters by better artists than the people who are making
try and
these
make
films.
it believable.
Well, just like there's a reason why like Jack Ditko and all of the artists who had created these characters made their suits a certain way, and when you get rid of that, you lose something. Spider-Man looks a certain way, Ant-Man looks a certain way, Iron Man looks a certain way with their full costume. It's a complete story, and then you just remove an important element of it because we need his face because I don't know, Hollywood like bureaucracy. Basically, it annoys me a lot, as you can tell.
Wish the fanboys stop using the difficulty as a shield from criticism. The games are not that hard. You're not a special boy for finishing them. I mean, that's just, you can't kill that meme. Get good is like the... People will say it when they don't mean it. People will say it when they do mean it. You'll get all of it, so it's just, you're not getting rid of that anytime soon, but... It is. Hello, Morin Gang. Just got off work and got paid. I'm glad to catch y'all live and hope y'all have a good day. Godspeed, Molarites. Hey, it's Molar Army.
You bet.
Okay. You guys
It's
remember
the
that?
hate mongers of the toxic brood.
Remember when Patrick Williams shared the DM he got on Facebook saying the Molar Army's gonna get you?
Oh, the very real one. Yeah.
That shit is so fucking dumb.
That troll got their money's worth out of that, you dumbass.
It is actual playbook shit. Like, he saw that, and he didn't think to himself, like, oh god, Molar's actually organizing his fan base to try and attack me. He instead thought, oh, this is perfect, I can post this online. That's gonna be great. Because that's like credible. And then you see it, and if you know anything about us, you'd be like, Molar Army. Talking about.
You think that's the best name we could have come up with? Man, that's the biggest insult of them all, is that you thought that was a credible name that we'd give it.
And you get so many people who are like, yeah, it's true. They're such hateful people. That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, God. It's like designed to only make people who hate you already hate you more, and then the people who like you to be like, what the fuck is this nonsense? Engagement bait. It's all the rage, especially these days.
Yeah.
Sounds like Theo doesn't have a sense of where his character is without seeing him in the center of the screen. Well, I would be interested to hear what Theo would have to say regarding that. I'm afraid he is not. Play Monster Hunter.
I'm sure he would agree.
Play Monster Hunter. It's Soulsborne combat, but better. Ooh, I played a lot of Monster Hunter. I quite enjoy it. Don't play it as much anymore.
What did monsters ever do to you?
Well, they'll be monsters. Old monsters. They weren't just being creatures.
Is that TOS to
the monsters being monsters? I don't know. That's probably not slur.
No, I mean killing them for what they are. And
well, I meant monster in the sense of a description of character rather than species or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, don't let extra credits know, because they would take a problem with intrinsic
That'd be
evil.
spooky. You wouldn't want that. You might draw them as an old black woman drinking coffee. You wouldn't want that. Do it, Theo. Compliment KH2. Kingdom Hearts 2, maybe. Killing Hell 2. Is there a game called Killing Hell? That sounds a good idea right there. Someone take that before it gets snapped up by someone else. Man, Little Platoon is an absolute mad lad. Mauler quality content at 50 times the frequency. The Acolyte is legit one of the worst things I've ever seen. Well, yeah, it's pretty bad. And I think he did full coverage of every episode. He is a beast indeed. YouTube is better for having Little Platoon as part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the anime icons problem with the DLC? Oh, they mean Theo. Well, you would have gone through a decent amount of it there, but you can find a video on Theo T. Tree's channel regarding his thoughts broadly and specifically and extensively on the DLC, if you wish to know.
And also, he's not anime profile. His name is Mr. Tree to you, all right?
Yeah. Also,
or Mr. T. Tree.
Little Platoon, do you play Elden Ring / V games in general? Also, what are y'all's favorite FromSoftware game? I don't think Little Platoon's played any FromSoftware games. I could be wrong on that, but as far as I remember. Then for me, it's locked up with Bloodborne, Dark Souls. There's too many DSs, damn it. Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. I adore them all for very different reasons, and I wish I could better list them in terms of my favorite, but seriously, I could go on forever about completely different features for why I love all three. And then, yes, I don't believe you've played any Rags?
No, I played Sekiro a little bit, but it's not a series or game that I really get into. No.
Unfortunately, Fringy is muted.
Dang, Fringy letting us down. Hey, while Fringy's letting us down, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick and I'll be right back.
Okay, well, let me do my best speculation. I think Fringy's played a bit of Dark Souls 1, all of Dark Souls 3, a bit of Sekiro, none of Dark Souls 2. I don't. Oh, he's played a decent chunk of Bloodborne. So he's got a selection there. And if he was forced to pick a favorite, oh, what would I assume? PS3 maybe? I don't know. What have you got, Fringy?
For what? Sorry.
What is your favorite FromSoftware experience?
Bloodborne probably.
Oh, there you go. All right, cool.
Yeah. I think Bloodborne is. I think Bloodborne is awesome. I love the atmosphere.
Fuck yeah. Let's see here. Elden Ring is just another painful reminder that George R.R. Martin is never going to finish The Winds of Winter.
Probably not.
I mean, there's just so many reasons for it at this point. One of the largest ones is he's actually in a writing problem, like where characters are and what certain things have taken place and how to solve them. There's huge stress over the reaction to the TV adaptation, which probably followed a couple, at least somewhat, of the things that he was going to actually do. And he's getting really old, and he's got lots of other projects he likes doing, and he probably likes spending his time hanging out with famous people or talking about different projects or running different ideas for different things, and it's just this thing that's attached to him. But I think I could speak for a lot of people that would say, like, can you please be honest about that if that's true?
What, rather than just saying I'm working on it.
He's been like, how long has it been? Gary has that day counter.
Isn't it like a decade?
It's very, very long time. But again, if he said, you know, it's like my magnum opus, I'm working real hard and getting out every day, it's like that would be one thing. But basically, nobody believes that anything is coming. And
well,
I think his last update was that he said there's a chance it'll never be completed or something like that.
Oh, okay. So
it was not a reassuring update at all. I know I'm way late, but I heard Basil Rathbone, and I immediately time traveled back to 1993, watching Joel Crow and Tom Servo roasting the magic sword. That and Estelle Winwood's acting. Well,
the magic sword.
It really takes you back, doesn't it?
Oh, Basil Rathbone. I remember the MST3K on the magic sword. I love it when it's their humor's not for everyone, but it's from a different time. They're kind of the grandfather of what we all are now. But I'm a big fan of MST3K, and I specifically do remember the magic sword one. A lot of those old movies are goofy. They're very whimsical, and I don't know. They have this sort of like old, darkish kind of fantasy based off of like fairy tales and Just the way that the production is and the magic effects and what people do and what they get up to. It's just like, oh, look at you. That's a fun, weird movie.
Yeah. If it hasn't been done yet, Yu-Gi-Oh! Card of the Day, Elemental Hero Plasma Vice. There he is.
Oh my goodness. Elemental Hero Plasma Vice. I think you meant to say.
Oh my God.
Must be fusion summoned to this card's attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage, which I think is if there's a difference between the attack and defense, you subtract that from the enemy's life. I think it's trample in I think it's trample in Magic the Gathering. You can discard one card. Was it always called piercing battle damage? Let me double check. Air Knight or Shaft. What Air Knight or Shaft? Was it always yeah, it is piercing. Okay, it was always called piercing. I couldn't remember. Let's see. Inflict piercing battle damage. You can discard one card, then attack one attack position monster your opponent controls. Destroy that target. You can discard one card, then target. Oh, shit. So that's just discard a card, kill an enemy monster in attack position. Here's the thing, like, that's really good, but I have no clue if in the current bullshit, insane, incredible psycho power creep that Yu-Gi-Oh's gone through, if that incredible effect actually is good or not. That's the problem.
Well, fair enough.
Elemental Hero.
That wraps us up for this episode. Thank you all so very much for sending in your respective messages, but for now, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you on the next EFAP thingamajiggy, whatever it is. Bye!
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Look at him, he says bye. He's just muted. Look at him, bye, 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 bye.